Have you ever had to deal with a difficult boss? This can be a little bit hard when you're new to the job because what do? You could have a boss that is just not giving you enough direction, or it could be the opposite, is giving you too much and is micromanaging you. Any which way you look at it, dealing with a difficult boss can be really sucky. So how do you deal with it? I'm Adriana Girdler. I am president of Cornerstone Dynamics and a productivity expert. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips on how to deal with a difficult boss at work. So you have a difficult boss and you need to deal with that person. I know how hard it can be. I remember when I used to work in organizations, how tough it was when you had a real difficult boss. But yet on the opposite side, when you have a good one, it makes life really easy. But that difficult boss truly can make work. And that's not what we want. We want to have fun. By the way, I'm going to let you know, I got a little bit of a cheat sheet going on. I've been busy with meetings and I really want to do this video because I've been coming across during the last couple times with my meetings with my clients, this particular situation. And so I'm hoping this is really going to help you. So my number one tip that is really important when it comes to dealing with a difficult boss, well, that is focus on your job. You know, you can't control what your boss is doing or how they're behaving. However, you can always focus on your job and ensure that you're doing it to the letter. Ensure that you're finishing through, following through, and being very clear with what your roles and responsibilities are. That is really, really important because at least it ensures that you are up to snuff with your roles and responsibility, in essence, doing what you're getting paid to do. Tip number 2. Sorry guys, as I said, I got my little cheat sheet here. Tip number 2 is know what's important to your boss. So, what do I mean by that? You have a difficult boss, you got to do a little bit of psychological 101. What's really important to that person? Ensure you make that a priority for you. Sometimes that in itself can be really the best way to kind of make things even keeled. So if your boss is a micromanager, they may be doing that because they don't feel that you really know what they need. So if you start understanding and knowing your boss, that may dissipate. And if your boss is not giving you enough information, then know your boss, understand that, and book one-on-one meetings with them. That could be a huge game changer. So really know your boss and try to adjust your behavior so it is in line with how your boss behaves. So tip number 3 in the grand scheme of all this is don't try to fix your boss. Sometimes we have that habit. If things aren't working well for us, how can we correct the other person? It ain't going to happen. They're your boss. They have their own patterns. If they're a micromanager, they're always going to be a micromanager. If they are kind of high level and they don't give you enough detail, guess what? You're not going to change it. So recognize that. It's not about you, it's about them. Don't try to fix them. You're not going to do it. But going back on tip number 2, really get to know them and understand their behaviors and their patterns and adjust your behavior a bit so that you can feed into it. So that those 2 tips really go hand in hand. Now, the next tip I want to give you, which is really important as well, is stay aligned with your vision and goals. In subsequent videos, I actually talk about how important this is for first impressions, also just for who you are when you're really new on the job. What do you want? Who are you? What are your values? Stay true to those. It can be real shitty having a shitty boss. However, don't worry about it. Just stay true to who you are and ensure that you're aligned with yourself because you have to wake up every day feeling good about the decisions you make. You can't control other people. Interestingly enough, as I said before, I've had this experience. I've actually had to go and be true to who I am. I had a boss who was so shitty, it was unbelievable. So much so that I was actually contemplating quitting the company. And it was an amazing company that had tons of benefits, top 50 list, like really cool things like gyms and amazing cafeterias. And it'd be like the best place to work and everyone was envious that I worked there. However, my boss was so bad, I actually at one point was thinking of quitting. That's how dire straight the situation can be. You know what helped me out? Was to being true to who I am, understanding what I'm all about, and staying true to my values. That was extremely impactful, and I highly recommend it for you. The other tip that I want to share with you, tip 5, is sometimes you got to put yourself in their shoes. Sometimes bosses, again, different levels of shittiness, so to speak, right? Some are just like too micromanagement, but they're really nice people. And others just, again, really nice people, but just too high level. Then there's really shitty, the situation and scenario I just shared with you. But put them in their shoes. Sometimes people just don't know. Sometimes they're just really busy themselves, and that's why they're behaving in the way that they are. So take it with a grain of salt. Understand the essence of the person. Some people are just really good people, and maybe they just have their little quirks that you unfortunately have to kind of live with. So figure that out. Try to put yourself in their shoes. So again, it doesn't feel like it's about you, because it really isn't. It's about them. Now, last but not least, take another look at how you're approaching things. It's really easy to point the finger, I promise you, because we've all done it, right? That boss, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? In some scenarios, it is true. Holy smokes, that person really is shitty. However, on the flip side of everything, sometimes you really got to look inward and ask, is it me? Is there some validity to why my boss is doing what they're doing? If they're micromanaging me, is it because maybe I'm not performing? So I'm not asking you to ever blame yourself, because I am going to say for sure, ensure that every day that you're at work, you do the best work that you can do. And you will know for sure that it's not you. However, some days are just not good days. So you do have to ask yourself the question, am I up to snuff? Is there any truth to any of this? Am I being micromanaged because perhaps I'm not doing my job? Look inward. It is really insightful. And it will help you understand exactly how to deal with those scenarios and situations. So on that note, there are my 6 tips. I hope you've gotten some value out of it. I know in my story, all of those tips, I've used them in the past, and they really were helpful. Here's a bonus tip, something that I had to do with the story I just told you earlier on about that real shitty boss. Last but not least, and ideally I try not to go there, but sometimes in the world, the corporate world, you do have to protect yourself. Document the hell out of things. If you have a super shitty boss who in your heart of hearts you know is out to get you, because that does happen, there are people out there like that, document every conversation, every meeting that you have. Because someday you may have to pull out that document in order to show the proof that, wait, this is not me. I've done my due diligence, and it does help. I had to go there. I actually had to bring it to HR. It wasn't fun, but it helped me tremendously when I had to go down that road. And I hope you never have to go down that road, which is why I do these videos. I'm trying to share with you the things I wish someone told me when I was your age and brand new in jobs. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel with the button below, and I will see you next time at my next video. See you later. Bye.